Hi, my name is Hayden, and this video is on Vex V5 competition strategy for Pushback. Okay, before I get into strategy, I'm going to go over my last two competitions. So the second to last competition that I just had, it went really well. Actually, we got 10th place overall, and we made it into semifinals. That was such a good competition for me and my team, and I'm so grateful that I got to experience that. And our most recent competition, we didn't do as well. It was one of our harder competitions, and we placed 25th overall, I think. But we did get a good alliance for the quarterfinals and all that stuff, but we didn't make it in. We I think it's it was the qualifying, right before quarterfinals. We lost that. Sadly, it was really sad, but it's okay because our robot was kind of malfunctioning, but now we kind of fixed it, so we're ready for next competition. But enough about me and my team. Let's talk about competition strategy for just Vex V5 beginners or just in general for this pushback season. Okay, so I know it's pretty late in this pushback season right now, but it is really important that you have a strong drivetrain, because for my robot, we do not have the strongest drivetrain, but it's okay because we kind of managed to make it through. But having a strong drivetrain is so important, especially for beginners, and you just need it no matter what. You don't want it too fast, but you also don't want it too slow, even though it's stronger, because then you can't catch up with other robots and things like that. So it's important to be fast and also be strong, but not too much of either. So you have to find the perfect the perfect in between, I guess. For drivetrain, because this is really important, I would recommend using green motors, because red motors have the most torque, which is strength, but the least speed, and blue motors have the most speed but least torque. So green is perfect for just in the middle, and that's just a quick little tip. But back to strategy. I think for competition strategy, it all depends on your opponents and who you're allianced with. If you have a really good alliance, then maybe you want to focus more on defense so that you and your alliance can split the work, because that I think is also really important. You and your alliance should definitely have balance. Let's say you and your alliance are both really, really, really good and your opponents aren't that good, then you guys can find whatever balance. Maybe you guys can both score because your opponents aren't very good, so you don't have to worry about that. But if your opponents are better and your alliance isn't as good as the opponents, or it doesn't matter, or things like that, then that's when it gets harder to balance out the work. But usually for what I do for my team, which works out pretty well, but probably not for all teams, my robot is better at defense than scoring. So usually my team does defense, and I'm the driver, so I drive and defense, and I try to score a little bit on the middle and lower goals, because those are so important, because everybody focuses on the high goals, but I like to also kind of focus on the middle goals. But back to what I was saying, I like to focus on that, and then my teammate probably scores more, and that's worked pretty well for some of my matches. But it doesn't work all the time, because it really depends on who your opponent is and who your teammate is. These are so important, because these are so important because it doesn't matter how good your opponent can score. You can change the game in a second with just your descore mech. That's why it's so important. And also there's a very good chance many other people, your opponent or your alliance has this too. So that's why you need to have this on your robot. If you don't have it right now, you need to get it. Or if yours isn't as strong, or you don't using it because you're you're not confident using it and driving with it and practicing with it, you need to. This is so important. It can change the whole game. It doesn't matter how good your robot can score. The descore mech is so important. For my team, we have redone our descore mech 3 times, but it still is super important. It doesn't matter how many times you have to redo it. Just keep on trying until you get what you want, until you're satisfied with what you want. But it depends how much time you have. If you have competition soon, then I'd build one that you're okay with for now, and then go to competition, test it out and see how it works, if it works or if it doesn't work, and then you can fix it from there. Okay, something I think that isn't too important, but people are kind of focusing on it too much, is the tongue mechs. tongue mechs, like, they're important for like skills and things like that. But I mean, if you're not like, if you're not worrying too much about skills, then I don't know if you need it. There's so many balls on the floor, and I know it kind of like seems like it's a priority. Like, I thought it was a priority like when I was building my robot, but I actually realized it's not that big of a priority. Of course, it's like nice to have, but it's not needed. It's not necessary, because you can still do so much without it. And like, unless your robot is like built for scoring, then there's like, you don't need to like waste time on it. If you have to choose between driver practice or like a tongue mech, I'd say go with driver practice. But there are some like cases like your robot needs it, like you're really good at scoring and like that's what your robot's built for, then yeah, it would be really important for the tongue mech. But like I just said, driver practice is so important. Like, people don't understand how important it is, and I don't even either, because I didn't get too much driver practice for like my last couple of comps, but it's still so important. I try to have as much of it as I can, but it's hard, it's hard to like squeeze in the time because we're building and we're busy and stuff, but it is really important. Also, another thing I want to say is for Auton, for competition during the matches, Auton's really important, but it depends like how much time you have. Because if you have like a lot of time, but also a lot of things to do other than Auton, you might not want to do it. It depends like how good your coder is. Like, if your coder, actually, it doesn't really matter how skilled of a coder your coder is. Well, obviously it does a little, but not too much, because it's mostly like about luck. Like, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. It doesn't matter about your skill. It matters like about how many times you practice, how many times you try. Because even like a perfected Auton can still go wrong. Like, with just like the slightest change, and everything can go wrong. You know what I mean? So Auton is really hard. I would only like say like you should do it if you really want to be like one of those top teams, and if you have a lot of time. But if you have like nothing to work on with your robot, I just say do Auton and then driver practice, and then Auton, driver practice, and then just switch off. Yeah. Okay, and now I'm going to show you some clips of some defense and like some scoring I did in my competition. I hope you guys became inspired from this video, and I hope you have like so many more new ideas to do for your Vex V5 robot. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.